Alright, step one for pivot animation is to figure out what you're going to do your animation based over. Now, my example one I used was a softball field with softball players, so this is going to be based upon that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to images and I'm going to go find a background that I can use. So I type in softball field and let's see what we can get. So I go through until I find one that I think is appropriate that'll work for this particular. And I want something that shows most of the field. And something that I could do an animation on. Let's see, nope. Let's go back and look. I'll use this one. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is save the picture, and I'm going to save it to my folder. In this case, I'm going to put it on the desktop real quick. And you could save this in your folder, and I'm going to call it Pivot Files. And I'm going to save it as softball fields. Next thing is I'm going to want a softball bat. I'm going to want a softball itself. There's different things that I'm going to want. So let's say I'm going to tell it softball. I want just a good old-fashioned softball. That will work. Again, save picture as. Save. I might want a glove. I mean, there's different things that you might want to use to go along with your little stick figure too. Make it interesting. Go back. Softball bat. That's a good one. That'll work. Guess it won't work because that link is down. So I'll go find another one that I think will be appropriate. That'll work. Now I saved him as a JPEG. Now I'm going to open up Photoshop. And I'm going to do some editing to those files. The new Pivot 3 sometimes will accept JPEG, sometimes it won't. So one thing I have learned is it will import a GIF and it will import a bitmap. So I'm going to go into Photoshop, open up these files I just created, and transform them. If it'll ever open here. Sometimes we have to wait patiently and sometimes not so patiently. There it goes. It's opening. Just slow. There we go, finally. Come on, file open. File. Open. Let's go ahead and open them real quick. Okay, now here's my softball. I want to make sure that I'm just getting the softball, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get rid of this white, because when I pull it in a pivot, I don't want that. And I'm actually going to probably change this image size down to at least 50%, because I know this is going to be way too big to be used in pivot. I may end up making it even smaller. And I'm going to save for web device because I want to save it as a GIF. That way I can open it. Save. Desktop. That pivot file. Softball. My fields. Maybe I want to change the size of them. Again, I may say, okay, maybe I want it bigger. And I'm going to save as, this time I'm going to save it not as a JPEG, but as a bitmap. And I've saved it in that folder. What we use is we use the Photoshop to get them as a GIF or a bitmap so that we can pull them in to Pivot.